Nice. Yep. And follow-up question from Upgrade. Is there a remix to Ignition?
I say we can make that happen. And we're live.
What's up, everybody? My name is Derek.
And my name is Casey, and we're here to bring you a new perspective.
This is Season 2, Episode 1 of the show where we talk about next-gen features in Ignition. Season 2.
Season 2. So this
Already.
week, yeah, I know. Doesn't it feel like we just started? When did we start streaming, Derek?
May?
Was it May?
Yeah. Yeah, we did 7 or 8 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty crazy. It's
Yeah.
already almost February. So
Yeah,
that's
almost February.
almost February, so that's kind of a big deal. But so today, as you can see, we're actually welcoming TJ onto the stream. It's his first
right.
time, so we're gonna be nice. So TJ, for those out there that don't know who you are, why don't you introduce yourself and what are you going to be showing us today?
Sure. My name is TJ Holt. I'm an Ignition team lead, mainly in the SCADA applications. In Flexware for about 2 years now, actually in January. So today we're going to do a little bit of show and tell for our SCADA platform.
Very cool.
Very cool. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who probably haven't seen it before. Derek, have you seen it?
I don't even know what SCADA is, so I'm looking
Uh-oh.
forward to it.
TJ, can you tell us what does SCADA stand for?
I don't remember actually.
Oh, well, I can tell you. It's
Supervisor.
because John. Okay, John beat it into me when I first started at my last job. No, I'll let you say it.
I don't know all of it. I'm being serious.
Oh, okay. It's supervisory control and data acquisition.
There you go.
He just does it.
Yeah, just do it. I don't need to know what it
You
does.
didn't want us to actually say what it is, but that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, so this is kind of a special episode. We're not going to be doing development per se. We're going to be doing more of a show and tell of what
Yeah.
Flexware is actually doing, which is actually kind of cool.
It is. I think it's
Hopefully
exciting because, yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's people who haven't seen anything or haven't seen this before because, it's hard to see everything that's going on, how busy people are and whatnot. Well.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I suppose. Is there anything
if
else?
you guys are ready to get into it, then I can show a screen and we can
Yeah.
just dive in.
Why don't we do that?
All right. Sharing screen now.
Great. It looks good on my
Cool.
end.
Beautiful. I like the colors or lack of colors.
Colors.
Yeah, I guess we can talk about that first, right?
Sure.
So this is all done in perspective. One of the biggest things that perspective can do is theming and styles. So we have this dark theme for all of us who don't like to be blinded, and we have a light theme.
My goodness.
And here, it's the muted gray. It's the ISA 101 standard. I know a lot of SCADA apps are going this way. Rockwell, Factory Talk View, it's kind of their standard for SCADA control. So I guess what that means is it's all muted grays and whites. So if I have something that's opened or I have something that's running, it's going to be white. Process values are in a blue or something that kind of grabs the operator's attention. And then faults are supposed to really grab the operator's eyes that, hey, this thing is a problem, which is, you can see that tank A has a big red outline. There's an alarm symbol here that kind of indicates that this is what priority alarm is happening within this symbol. And ideally, when you're running your system at a glance, if you don't see any crazy colors, any reds or oranges, you know that your process is running how it's supposed to run. So it's supposed to be a minimalistic approach and faster reaction time if there are problems within your system.
Cool. And I know you mentioned the ISA standard. How many are there different ones, or is that the only one? Or did I ask a bad question?
Yeah, don't ask hard questions.
Okay.
I know that there is another standard out there,
Okay.
but I know typically when you do these projects, right, people don't really have a standard at all. They just say, oh, like we just have this developer and
Mm.
we like things green and red because I don't know, that's how we've always run it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And so then you go to a different plant, that same company, and it's completely different. You know, it's now it's I don't know, light
Green means
green
red and
and
red means green, right?
yeah, you have that too. Energizes green and non-energizes green. So I think that that's the biggest thing of what we're trying to um, develop here is a
Okay.
standard list of objects and colors that we can give to a customer to kind of give them the tools to start off with, and then they can just kind of expand upon it um, for each site that they have.
Okay.
Very cool. I also see some like shapes up there in the upper right hand corner. So not only do they have those bright eye grabbing colors, but
So bright.
so there must be like a colorblind mode or or something to that effect.
Yeah, that's the other thing about ISA 101 is it's to really comply with people who are colorblind. So if you have a green and red motor, like Reese, he's going to think it's whatever color it is, right? Gray or if he thinks they're all green all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea here with the shapes is to kind of distinguish your different alarm priorities. So starting from 1 is the most critical alarm. This is I have a major problem. Things are going to either shut down. I'm going to stop producing. Then you go into a high and a medium, a low, and then there's this diagnostic one, which is really used just for informative alarms. Like, hey,
Okay.
this tank is like approaching low level. Like maybe you should order something, or it's not really going to stop your production. Maybe it's a storage tank or what have you.
Mm.
But it just kind of gives the operator some insight to what's going on and what the alarm is without having to drill in too far to figure out what's happening with my system.
Very
And
cool.
the cool thing we have on the alarm dock that you mentioned is that we can click on these different icons and it'll actually
Wow.
filter based upon that priority. So if I click on this number 2, I'm going to get all of my high alarms for my
Nice.
entire project. And if I click on
Wow.
the 4, now it's all lows, right? I don't see the high alarm anymore. And if I clear this filter down here, now I get everyone.
Very cool.
So I see there's the red or pink or whatever color. I think it's red. The red box around tank A. Is that because you were clicked on it, or is that also tied
That's
to
telling
something?
you that this tank has an alarm on it. And if I click on
Okay.
this,
Okay. Oh wow.
here we have our faceplate. And on the faceplate, we have the tank A level high, and it's a medium priority. So
Okay.
without even having to click into the faceplate or clicking on the alarm dock or what have you, I know that this certain component has an issue.
Okay.
Is less clicks part of this high performance HMI standard? Less clicks to get to the information that you want to get to.
Yeah. The
It
less I don't know, the less the operator has to do his job, the better.
Mm-hmm.
In some cases, you can't always do that, but we try to make things as efficient as possible.
Right. Yeah, I definitely see a theme here. Click one button, auto filter, click one symbol, and the text right at the top. So, yeah, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Cool.
And I can, before I guess we go into all the symbols and stuff, we can kind of talk about our navigation structure. So typically when we set up these projects, we have SCADA or SQL backend, and so location model. So everyone has like a parent-child relationship, and so all the records are stored inside of a SQL table, and then we can query and do store procedures to kind of match everyone up that say, oh, like in this case, on the top header here, this is all driven by SQL, and then there's also a tag data set in case you lose your SQL connection. It'll fail back to the tags. So whatever that location model was, I think it updates like every 5 minutes or so. So if we look at this, like I have Flexware, that's like my main system, and then demo site is a child, and then Twin Tanks is a child of that. Now you can go to the top of Flexware here.
You know which? Speaking of these tanks that have liquid in them,
I don't have one of those.
What?
Hydrate.
Well, we can hydrate and be responsible adults here. And you can be dehydrated.
All right. Deal.
Just getting started. Continue.
So if I look at this,
Mm-hmm.
what I did here was, here's my location model tree. And so I have Flexware, here's demo site, we have Indiana, North Carolina. And from here I can navigate. It actually takes me around through the app, and I can drill down from these. So I can go into the demo site and click down on the cards, or I can do this again. The simplicity here is less clicks. If I needed to drill all the way down into my twin tanks, I might not want to do these, 3 clicks to get all the way down into it.
Okay.
Nice.
That's really cool that you can do it like multiple ways though. That it's not just one set. You can only get there this set path.
Yeah, and then we also implement this back button, which will take you back to the screen that you were in. Of course, this has failed.
Brennan says we should see what happens when you click start production.
Oh, no.
This button?
Do it. Oh.
Oh.
Oh boy.
So we see the valves are transitioning. They're open.
Ooh.
My pump is going to start running.
Oh, dope.
And so then white means it's running.
That's right.
And okay.
So we utilize the color and the text. So I have a white pump and the blue running text.
Okay. Cool. It's a lot to take in here. So then I see on up at the very top you have those little what'd you call those?
The spark lines
Spark
up here?
lines, that's the word, I couldn't think of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so those are like KPIs, so they're key process points that we want for the system, and they're dynamic enough that we can actually check this. We have the session properties that we use to see where we're at in our location model, and then based upon where you're at, we can dynamically update these for each of the processes. So if I'm on this like twin tanks, let's say this is some filling line, I might want to know about I don't know, my total rate and maybe downstream equipment and upstream equipment. And then if I go to a different area or a different line in my system, I can update these to kind of match what I care about, depending on where I'm at in my application.
Okay.
Cool. So less configuration, more access to more information.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cool.
And then if you want to talk about the components, or you have more questions?
Yeah, well, I was wondering about the components a little bit. Just, they're simple components. Can you change how they look? Well, I'll just let you do your spiel, and then I'll ask questions.
Sure. So we'll start at the top here. So we have, this is just a solenoid valve, right? Open, close. We have a couple other components that we don't show on this page. But this is all tied back down to an emulated PLC. I think it's called Echo, Allen Bradley Echo. And so here we have a mini faceplate. So this allows operators to quickly control their components. And I can just open all these faceplates here, and I can do my control like this. And then if I wanted to, let's close these guys out real quick. I can expand this. Now I'm going to get a bigger faceplate with more information. So here, kind of take the approach of a faceplate being modularized. So our home page is our control and status. This bell is my active alarms that I have. I can acknowledge and reset, and what this will do is it'll actually filter my component alarms from my ignition server, alarm server, and it'll acknowledge only this component's alarms. So you're not going to acknowledge the entire system. And so from here, right, we have auto, manual, and again, we're kind of using the ISA 101 standard. So the white means you're active and the gray is not active. So I'm in auto, in service, and I'm closed. And here I can click manual. I'll go into manual mode, and then I can open this guy. And now I have my transitioning, I'm opening,
Oh,
and now I'm open.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
then you'll see my spark line down here is a historical representation of what this thing is doing. So here's my open status. Now I just went to a 1 from a 0.
So is that transition status looking for an open bit or something?
Yeah, in our UDT structure. So another thing to talk about is to kind of keep things dynamic as possible. All of our faceplates utilize, all of our components have a UDT attached to them in Ignition. And we can parse that UDT to dynamically update this tab strip here based upon the different folders that the UDT has. So I have this little information button here. I'll click that. And this is going to give me all my tag properties. So our solenoid valve UDT has this kind of structure. I have my alarming, control, and my general, which is kind of like my name. And then this control will house all of the control stuff. I have device control and device status, and then all the stuff that kind of lives in there. And then all my alarms, if I have them, go in here. And that way, I can kind of isolate everything into their own areas. And then if I were to add more folders for other stuff, if I wanted like an engineering page or a maintenance page, that tab strip will update appropriately. And then you just have to make one view for those individual areas, and then it just dynamically updates based upon your initial tag instance.
Cool. So if you have a valve, if you have two separate valves and they have similar tags, but not every single tag, what do you do then? Are you just disabling, or, because not every valve's the same.
Right. And so, yeah, I guess that's another thing. The way we've been utilizing this platform is kind of like an agnostic approach. Like, I don't really care what PLC you have. It can be an Allen Bradley, it can be a Siemens, it can be whatever. It can be directly tied to a Kepler server. And we just link up the individual tags to our UDT, like however they align, and then we can disable the certain tags that we're not going to use, and then it'll not display those specific ones on the page. So like if I had a valve like this case, right, I have an in-service and out-of-service, but not all valves have in-service, out-of-service. If I don't have these, I would disable the UDT instance to say, hey, in-service command is disabled, and it won't show up here.
Awesome. That's super powerful. Yeah.
I think. See if I could not break it. I have the designer open on my other page, but I think I can show you how it'll work here.
Yeah, why not? So what do you think, Derek? Do you like this theming? This ISA standard?
Yeah, I'm a sucker for the dark theme.
Do you like it?
But that light theme also didn't burn your eyeballs. It was still pretty tame.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, it was
bright
shocking when he changed to it. But yeah, it's not too bad. I wonder if you ever have anybody push back who may not like it. I mean, it's different. It's completely different to what people were used to, right? Especially like my past. There was a lot of color. A lot of green.
So here,
101.
Here I disabled the out-of-service command on my UDT instance.
Okay.
So then it gets rid of it.
So be that quick just to like take it off.
So if you disable, it gets rid of buttons. What about text? What if you don't have open permissives or
same things. Everything's compartmentalized within the view itself. So we just have specific bindings. Of course, it's not going to work.
Like you said, not everybody would have the permissions to open and close because you wouldn't want someone random just be like, right? Opening and closing valves.
Right.
So is it just read only then? Or do you have like is there like a message that pops up that tells you like, you don't have permission to do this, or is it just they're disabled, like you can't touch them?
I mean, it all depends on the customer. We've had
Sure.
customers that want we'll set the security on the gateway where you can just be view only. So right now I'm logged in as admin. You can see this top right
Yeah.
by the alarm dock.
Yep.
So it's only read only unless you're authenticated. And in those cases, when you are writing to an OPC tag, you get the little pop-ups that say, hey, you don't have authorization to do so. We have other customers that they want things actually like disabled so that you get the perspective like built in little circle with the line, and it's like dark shadowed or whatever, to kind of give more indication like, hey, you're not allowed to touch that, and then to help their operators understand like what's going on.
Okay. I was wondering how that looks because I haven't really seen a lot in this type of we'll say theming yet, but yeah, like if it's disabled, usually it's like grayed out, right? And since it's already gray, I was curious, but it's cool to know.
Yeah, well, it does look different. So if I go, I'm just going to do this real quick on my designer so you can see it.
Okay, sure. And if it's too difficult to show it to that, it's completely fine. Oh, I see.
So here's the, yeah, so it is gray, but it's
the border
more...
is slightly missing. I think it looks, well, and then if you're on touch screen too, but I suppose most people probably are just, this is at a computer, right?
Yeah.
Or at a desktop or something.
Is that red circle with a line through it? It's pretty small.
Yeah, so that's like
okay.
the indication that, hey, this thing is actually disabled.
It's actually
okay,
cool.
I see.
I like that.
And then I disabled the open and close permissive, so those boxes went away.
Nice.
Cool. So while we're on the topic of pumps and all this other stuff, but can we go back to that original question about making things look differently?
Sure.
Because
Like a pump
people have different preferences on how a valve may look or a pump. It could be white or gray, but what if somebody has a preference?
Yeah, so what we've done is we kind of utilize a little bit of Ignition's built-in components, right? You have the motor symbol, excuse me. But we also utilize SVGs, and within our tag, we can define what I want to show like for my symbol. So I'm going to go over into my tag browser, and I'm going to change my pump 200A from a pump to a motor.
Okay, so it is configurable.
Yeah, it's configurable, and then obviously like it's real time, so and it's all in the tag, so I don't have to change the UDT instance. It's they all have the same like tags within them. It's just the visualization of them.
Yeah, that's actually sick because it's parameterized, so you don't have to get in the designer, or maybe you do, maybe you have a configuration screen, but all you're changing is a parameter, and then you don't have to go and drag a new component out, realign it with your pipes or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. So there's a couple different ones that we have currently. Again, it's really all based on customer needs. But as we keep getting more customers wanting different things, we've been expanding it and just like holding on to those SVGs. We have like elevated tanks, and we have wells, so it doesn't look like the dome on the top and bottom. It's just like a kind of square box. But we still have like the level that increases, and you have the spark line in the middle. So, and there's just so much you can do with this system, especially because it's in perspective. I mean, everything is just kind of at your fingertips if you want it.
You even see that little spark line. So is that to help you visualize where the level is, or are you supposed to actually be able to see that?
Yeah, so that's if you look at, there's a T = 1 hour. So this is actually a historical representation of the tank level in the past hour.
Okay.
That's cool.
I thought it was just showing the level of it, what it is currently, because it just happens to be sitting there. But I suppose since it's not actively changing.
Well, it follows that concept of less clicks. You don't have to click and get a faceplate to see the spark line. That's awesome.
And let's see if I can drop this level here, and you can see the spark line fall. But yeah, I mean, we've done so much things to kind of optimize this as best as we can. So like here's our analog input faceplate. So we have this analog bar. This kind of tells you your high and low limits, this is a built-in analog bar for perspective.
Okay.
And then here's the other tabs. So like the valve didn't have these other things, right? And if I look at these two, they're very similar. And the analog tag itself has these different folders. So I have alarming, control, now I have engineering and maintenance. And inside of those, like here's engineering, here's my input scaling. And so we can tie these back to the PLC. So if you want to dynamically update your input back to the controller or the card level, so say you have a level sensor and it dies, and its old min and max was 0 to 100 feet, but the new one, you can't calibrate it, but it's for 0 to 200 feet. Well, now you got to call someone who can get into the PLC after the electrician has wired it all in. Well, now we can give the maintenance guys or supervisors, or if you even trust your operators, to come in here and just manually update the EU max to 200, and your signal is going to be fine all the way down to the PLC.
Okay.
Very cool.
Looks like there might be a question, Derek, if you wanna.
Yeah. Flying Chicken Go Splat says or asks, how would you go about implementing this platform and project? What does the timeline look like?
I guess it really depends on the size of your system. We have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these projects now. Taking customers' existing applications, and really what we do is we kind of show them what we have. Like here's our templates and here's our things. Like does this work for you, or is there anything that we're missing? Do that implementation, and then we just don't really do like a like for like. Maybe on the PNID level, the biggest challenge there is to get all the stuff off the screen, right? Everyone has their PNIDs that have text everywhere, and there's tables and graphs, and it's just so chaotic, and you have to kind of compartmentalize those. So then we make process slide outs. I don't have an example on this one, but usually we have a little button over here that's consistently, if you have a process menu, and it actually pulls a slide out menu, and that's where all that stuff lives. Like it's stuff that you want to see, but you don't need to see all the time, and it kind of cleans up everything. And then from there, we just kind of take their tags and just line them up. And we have some other tools that can't really share, but we have other tools that can help us, export tags and import tags and pull them from, Kepware or wherever they're else coming from, and kind of match them up to our UDTs, bring them into our system, and then the templates, the components that we have, all will follow the UDT. So if you can get your UDT to line up, all of the template components are going to line up as well.
Okay. Well,
hopefully that answers his question.
We also have first, did you see, so Captain Blunder, which I know we saw you followed a few days ago, possibly? Doesn't matter. But Captain Blunder says, that looks great, TJ and Team Flexware. So we really appreciate that. And then you want to ask do the other question, Derek?
Yeah. Thanks again, Captain, for the follow. And Upgrade says or asks, does this work with all PLCs?
Yes, this is completely agnostic. I guess the only caveat, if Ignition can't talk to the PLC, then no, it won't work. But usually it can. Either there's a Kepware, which is the middleman. Like I said, our UDTs are not tied to a PLC, AOI, or UDT. So it's completely agnostic. If you want it to be tied to it, that makes the developer's life way easier. You can just set your one root tag path that says, oh, this is my OPC item, and then you have all your children like dot fields. So like that's nice to have. But like if it's a PLC 5, we can do that too. We just have to match up. It's a little more painstaking to do, but just match up like your N registers or your B registers or whatever you have to the appropriate like UDT tag that it lives in. So like maybe your start command for your one pump is N7 whatever. So then like pump 1 inside my UDT in Ignition, its OPC item path becomes N7 whatever it is. So it doesn't really matter what the PLC is on the other end.
Nice. Yep. And follow-up question from Upgrade. Is there a remix to Ignition?
I say we can make that happen. If you're talking about the song.
I thought that was Perspective.
Toot.
Oh, is that the remix?
I want to get slapped with a DMCA. Found it? Oh no. Did you just try to send a link? Okay.
Oh no.
I'm gonna ban you.
Cool. Ban you.
If you want, you can whisper that to us or send the link via Teams or something.
Right.
We can post it. We have links turned off.
We can't play R. Kelly. He's a felon.
Just get out of the way.
Back to SCADA.
Well, we have a hydrant
SCADA.
first for those of us that are responsible.
Oh, yeah, I don't have one.
My goodness, thank you. Hydrant. Why aren't you drinking any water, Derek? You have something going on tonight, or?
No, I left it on my desk. I'm in a new room today. I'm not at home, as you guys can see. See the wall
Upgrade.
behind me? Yeah.
TJ
is great and
too.
handsome.
Oh, what about Derek?
I mean, nobody has hair like me. I can tell you that.
That's true.
These luscious locks.
Fabio.
Uh,
Here's a man.
Just talk a little bit more here.
Sorry.
Focus, guys. Just
we get
focus.
distracted.
Man.
Okay, it's
yeah.
Squirrel. The other thing we have is for your analog inputs here. I'll close these guys.
sure.
If you want to add, and you can, we have this. Here's a slide out for the analog input, so I can set my desireds. I can set my alarm set points. So right now I have a high, a low, and a low, low. I can come in here. I can click this. I'm gonna make a high, high for 95. Sure.
So, just to, distract you even further.
Yeah.
So what is like an analog input? Is that like a temperature indicator?
An analog input is like any. I don't know if you.
Hanging out.
Well, think back to like this is all coming from a PLC, so like it's an analog input to the PLC. So like a 4 to 20 milliamp device, or 0 to 20, or 0 to 10 VDC. So temperature, flow, pressure, level.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know,
So
amperage,
those
volts.
types of hey, I have this flow meter, so I can see my flow. That's an input that we're getting that information from.
Correct.
Okay.
As opposed to like a digital input would just be like a on off.
Which
right?
I was gonna ask. Okay.
Upgrade has another question. How hard is it to learn Ignition / Perspective? What kind of background do you need? Well,
Not at
lucky
all.
for you.
No.
Well, Ignition's amazing. They supply a lot of learning material. Inductive University, they have an awesome user manual. Their forum is amazing. Their community is awesome. The Ignition Exchange, you can get all kinds of free resources. They have Maker, and it's just Python. You learn a little bit of Python.
Yeah, I guess I'll speak from my experience. So I have a PLC background, and I worked with like Factory Talk View and iFix and all the really crappy SCADA systems that are out there now, and came to Flexware January 2 years ago, and joined the Ignition team. So I left the automation team to join Ignition because I really enjoyed working a little bit of with Reese and doing a project with him that had some SCADA stuff in it. And so learning Perspective, I started in like June of that first year, and it was the day after Christmas, I got my gold cert.
Holy crap.
So I would say it's not that difficult to learn. I guess like standards and like how to do things the right way is probably the most difficult to grasp. But it's not this daunting thing. Yeah, it's a little different than how other skaters do it because it's Jython, and some people get all worried like, oh, well, like, I don't know how to do that. Well, you don't really need to do much with it. You can if you really want to. We've seen some of the things that we've done for all the things that like Eric and Nick have showed us. But you can also just use it at the root level of binding to a tag and making it look pretty. It's it's as complicated as you want to make it, I guess.
Yeah, and for I mean, like for me, when I had started working at Marvin previously, which was in December of 2015, is when I started learning ignition. I had no experience, no ignition experience at all. Then I'm still learning. I mean, you know, still learning. I don't have my gold cert yet, but I'm working on it right now.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have the opportunity, but now I have the opportunity, which is awesome. And also, yeah, Reese wanted me to share that link, so.
I had almost no programming experience, like a year before I started at Flexware. I was doing Python at home and learning that way.
Oh.
But out of college, I had a C++ class and a VB. That was it.
Oh, yeah, I did VB and Java and Python I had to take.
I did assembly.
Oh, boy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had a 7-segment display to do an assembly.
You know what's even worse? I went and did IndieSoft Wonderware.
Gross.
Okay.
That's worse than assembly. VB script.
That's all Factory Talk. Factory Talk View SE is all in VBA. It's garbage.
Yeah. So you don't have to have a background
So the moral of the story
software.
is that it's just better.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. Uh-oh. Derek just dropped off the call. Uh-oh. I'm going to put us to the BRB screen, you guys, just for a second here while we wait for... Waiting for Derek to... Oh, he's back. 1 second.
I think we dropped.
Looks like
Sorry.
we're having a connection issue, so I'm going to wait. Oh, there we are. Hey, but we got to use
There
the
you go.
BRB screen, which I never said we were ever going to get to use, but let's look at it. It's beautiful. Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. That's why we are using the software. This is very helpful because otherwise the whole thing would have just went just like that.
Just like that.
Wow. So
All right.
what else were we talking about here? I think we have about 17 minutes or so. Is there anything else we wanted to go over?
There's 2 things. There's first thing, because I made it and I think it's awesome.
Oh, okay. Toot your own horn here.
I will. Toot toot.
Toot toot.
So there's this little magnifying glass here, and you know, whenever you're in an application, you're like, man, where's that pump live? Where's that level sensor live? Well, here I can just type
Yeah.
the level sensor I want.
What?
Go, oh, there it is.
No way. Again. Do it again.
Dude,
What if
Do
you
it
do the
again?
valves?
Did it flash? Did it show you which component it was?
Oh, I see.
I
You
didn't
go
see
by
it.
no, it didn't, Derek. I
Dash
can only do so
number.
much
Oh,
prior to the stream.
I just did.
Oh.
Well, I didn't know if that was working.
It's not. Thank you.
Well, I didn't. I could have had a bad connection.
Sure, yeah.
I'll do it
Oh.
all.
Oh my goodness.
So this pulls all the components that like match this text.
I see.
And so like here's my 2 pumps. I know they're upside down, don't judge me.
Judging.
I do have an embedded view
Sure.
that is supposed to flash when you click on it that says, hey, you found me, and then it flashes to like give you
Oh.
indication, but that is not working. Thank you, Derek.
You're finding that out.
Well, I was just wondering. I was just thinking that'd be really helpful. That's all.
It would be really helpful, wouldn't it?
My bad.
Sensing
It's
intention.
fine. Oh no, he just asked if I can make it work, 5 minutes before.
Well, he has
the stream.
hair, so I don't know. There's already tension.
Oh, okay. No, but
Right.
so that's something that could be done in the future, though.
I have it. I just haven't implemented it in
Oh.
this
Well,
in this
then
certain one.
maybe next time.
Yeah.
Since Derek's being very specific.
So that was one thing. What about the other thing?
Yeah, we're running out of time here. The other
Good.
thing is really fancy trending.
Oh.
Which I know I think everyone's used. I know this like header here is the it's on the exchange.
Okay.
But here we have this ad hoc trending that we've kind of pulled into our system, and you can go into your different tags, and I can come in here and like here's my flow controller. I can grab my PV value. now it's going to display here and here. I can change this from historical to real time. I can change my calculations from maybe maximum to average.
Wow.
Down here we'll update. I can also flip it from a table or a trend to a table. I can export this guy. I can also grab just the raw data, so without the interpolation of the historical query, you can actually get the raw data points for each time slice.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah. And we also are utilizing the charts.
Okay.
So you have we have a public, if you're not logged in, and then you can save your trends to per user, and then load them. So if operator A comes in, he likes to look at his one chart every day for whatever it is, and then he can save those to his user. And then here Derek comes in and he wants to see his trends. He likes to look at these other tanks all day, so then he can just pull them up here based upon your login credentials.
Really cool.
Tanks.
And then if you want to quickly just remove one, just do that in the bottom or something.
Yeah, just delete this pen.
Okay. Cool. That could be very handy.
Easy.
That for sure. Let's see. Do you have anything else we wanted to? You showed us the old.
You there?
Who?
Okay. I was dropping out for a second.
I get really quiet.
We are struggling today, aren't we?
I think it's just the Wi-Fi. I'm not used to streaming here.
That's all right. Just trying to see if there was anything else we missed. I'm not sure if you might have cut out when I was asking that.
Yes.
Oh, there is?
There is. There's more.
Well, what? The world's smallest screen.
It's mobile friendly.
No
It's
way.
mobile friendly.
No
So
way.
here are all my buttons. So I can start the production,
What?
shut it down, and then here are all my components.
Oh my gosh. So it takes all the pipes away. It just gives you the component
gosh.
information. That's sick. That's awesome.
It's actually pretty cool.
Thanks.
What does tablet look like? Does that look okay with PNID, or is it this level of detail?
Where's that breakpoint at?
Just like gotta find the special spot.
I don't think I have tablet for this one.
That's all right.
Don't. I do have mobile though.
That's
But
sick.
typically what we do for tablet is, oh geez,
My goodness.
can't type. Is we'll either shrink the PNID, we might get rid of the header, or in some cases if there's too many components, we'll just reuse that mobile repeater,
Sure.
and it just fills it out to the left and down instead of just being two columns.
Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for TJ? I think I'm tapped out.
Yeah, I think I'm good right now for questions. I think we got all the ones that were in chat from earlier. As far as I know, double checking. Yeah, I believe we got it all. Okay. Well,
Cool. Well, yeah. Well, if there's no other questions, we could probably wrap it up a little early.
yeah, definitely. Because I know I think you have the ignition training is there. Well, when I say you, I mean Derek. There's a training
Yes.
course going on right now, right? So you guys are doing something tonight?
Ignition training this week. That's why the show is a little bit early.
Yep.
We have dinner with the trainees this evening. How do I get my hair looking so good? Or TJ?
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you,
You know.
mine took a long time to get like this. Let me tell you that.
Oh my gosh.
It's not that bad. I just can't look down.
Because you'll blind us, or
Oh,
I'm scared.
it's a Nintendo 64 controller.
Oh my gosh. I can see that. Yeah. That's actually really funny. Oh, it's an inside joke for TJ. Okay.
TJ, you know Captain Blunder?
Mm,
How do you get your hair looking so good?
Yeah.
is it Steve?
I guess we'll never know.
Never know.
Unless they
Hi,
tell us.
Steve. Well,
Doxing users out there.
oh,
Yeah, Steve. Everyone knows who that is.
Oh, yeah, oh, I do.
It could be a couple people actually.
It's thankfully it's not a common name, so we're probably safe, right? No, I mean it is common, right? Yeah.
he says yep.
He says, "Yep."
Yep.
Well, awesome. I guess we could switch to the. There's no more questions. We could switch back to just the chatting layout if you wanted.
Yeah. All right. Back.
I forget how
All
big the
right.
screen is.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we'll do our little outro here.
Yeah. Let's see here.
There's a reminder of ignition training. It's going on now, but our next one is in March. I think those dates are out.
You can put in the training. I have it on there, I believe.
Okay, yeah, it's about to.
Hopefully, I updated it.
If anybody is interested in training, ignition training, and now you get your cert when you leave the training. You don't have to go and take a test. So that's cool. That's in March. I think there's 4 seats left.
Yeah, so I believe as of this morning or today there were 4 seats.
Yeah. See previous episodes of the show on YouTube. There's the link, and I'm trying to get better at sending these out.
The links?
Yeah. I think those are the only 2. Cool.
I think, yeah, it's just that the training or the events that, also we want to thank everybody that tuned in with us today. Yeah, like Derek said, be sure to check out our YouTube channel down there. Subbing is free. That's usually where we put the old episodes, and that's where other stuff is released as well, which is pretty cool. And then if you enjoyed watching us today and you're not following, that is also free, and you can hit that little heart button, and then you'll get notifications when we go live.
Do it.
Which would be awesome. There is no pressure, but it doesn't cost you anything.
No, there's pressure.
There's pressure. Do it.
Pressure in you.
Do it.
All the pressure.
And then, so I don't believe we've decided on when the day the next stream is. It will be rescheduled to, we believe, earlier that week.
Yeah. February. Usually the show is on the last Thursday of the month, but
Usually.
next month is going to be a little wonky. You get people out of town,
Yep.
and so maybe the 16th or earlier that week of the 20th. We'll see.
Yeah.
So
But we will post that for sure on LinkedIn. So if you're not following us on LinkedIn or following Flexware, that's usually where we post it. Or any of us.
Yep.
Not following us, but if you want to be a connection, go right ahead. So yeah, we'll post it on there, and I think that's about everything then.
Yep.
Appreciate you guys. Captain Blunder says it looked great.
Yep.
So that's
Thanks,
all that
TJ.
matters. So, you're good.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Sweet. Well, we'll go ahead and do the outro then. See you guys later. Bye.
Alrighty. Thanks, guys. Bye.